Monday night, we're doing Vet Talks, which this was definitely one of my babies. Between the time that I spoke at TEDx years ago and I spoke at Disrupt HR, I wanted to give and create a platform for veterans to share their voices, all pun intended. And, I'll go ahead and say this now because when my talk comes out, this is going to be the loudest thing that I think I've ever said. There's so many programs and resources for veterans.
Yes.
I thought when I wrote this into my talk, not every veteran is homeless. No. Not every veteran is suicidal. Not every veteran is helpless. And this is the hard thing for some people to understand. Not every veteran has been to combat.
No, most haven't.
But what I've learned on both sides of the challenges that people have, be it post-traumatic stress or growth, and this is heavy, so brace yourself, sometimes it feels like the only time that anyone is listening is if we have a gun to our head. And I wanted to create a space where we could create not that.
All right, and welcome back to the Vegas Veteran Voices podcast, the podcast where we talk to vets who are doing unique things in passion, purpose, therapy, or getting stuff done. Today I'm sitting with Dave Burlin, who is a titan of industry. He is a mastermind of scaling businesses. He's a wedding DJ. He's been in the Marine Corps. At some points, he was an electrician. He's a little bit of everything. So, Dave, we're going to talk about a few things today. What are we going to talk about?
Well, I think the most important thing, bro, is I love opportunities like this because the first thing we're going to dig in on is the truth.
Yes.
Right? We get to the truth. But it's just going to be this hodgepodge of, I don't know, man, we could talk about giving Kaskade a boombox. We could talk about scaling businesses. I know we're definitely going to talk about the DJ business and Freedom Week and how all of that has brought together everything that I've been working on for the last 15 or 20 years right here to probably the most impactful thing that I've ever brought to a community. So I know we're definitely hitting on those things, but I don't know, man, we may talk about some boom boxes and hope we get to talk about some books too.
I think we will talk about some books. And if you're listening to this and you're watching this and you haven't heard of what Freedom Week is, you are missing out. I want you to pause the video right now. Google Freedom Week. Look up Dave Burlin. You're going to see it.
DaveMeansBusiness.com.
DaveMeansBusiness.com. All right, we're going to get rolling. Let's dive into it.
Bow-bow.
Bow-bow. Hey, Dave. How are we doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man.
Where are we right now?
We're here at Nevada Partners. There's a lot of amazing philanthropy that's going on here in this part of Las Vegas where they're reviving some of the great cultural things that have shaped entrepreneurship on this part of town. Is that why
there's so much road construction right now?
It is, 100%. Yeah, it's like that. All the physical barriers are also the metaphorical ones too. Like, it's so hard. It's so hard to just get here.
I mean, what's our state flower?
Right? Construction cone.
The construction cone. Thank you, Las Vegas.
Hold on. I just, real quick, that's okay. I don't mind it, but like for everything post F1, can we at least get the lines back on the strip? It's literally like a race car track there, and no one knows where any of the lanes are.
Well, that's half the fun of driving on the strip.
That
you
is
just
not
create your own rules.
It's a nightmare.
So, Dave, you're here today on Vegas Veteran Voices. That's the Triple V. We're here to talk about a little bit of what got you started, give a little bit of a background story of your time in the Marine Corps, and then we're going to dive into what you're doing with business.
When people ask me what I do, I've went through phases where I said, for a long time, I said more than I should. And I realized there just feels like a negative connotation to that. And I listen to what people say, and people are like, oh my God, you're doing so much. And like, in a way, yes, but you have no idea all the things I've said no to.
Yes.
What I've learned is that even like the simplest way to explain what I do is I help people scale the hell out of their businesses. And I help them do that by, focusing on their company culture, tightening up their operations, and really just learning how to sell and communicate what they do. Obviously, I can do that for it's like a mechanic, right?
Yes.
I can do that for a lot of vehicles, but the vehicles that I do it very well for is if it's an event based industry.
Yes.
if it has to do with a date on the calendar, there's something very similar under the hood of every type of organization like that. So if there's anything at all that has to do with dates on a calendar, I can normally reverse engineer an entire business or an entire industry. And I say I help people Marine Corps the shit out of their business. Like I help people really get a strong foundation, operation, and when I say sales and marketing, like the sales and marketing for something like the Marine Corps is very different.
Yes.
It's the few, the proud. Like not everybody can get in, and that creates a level of excellence. But that level of excellence is also a lot harder work, and it results in, it has different results.
Everyone, when they hear Dave Burlin, they think this is the business guy that's doing a million things in Las Vegas. And so let's dive into Marine Corps.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I love all things military, but I did choose the Marine Corps. I was at-risk youth myself, so I went in at the young age of 19. So I left in 2000, and I was actually deployed when 9/11 happened. We were the forward deployed unit for that. I got out just a couple years later in 2003. And I was in infantry. So that was a remarkable experience. But I'll be honest, in a way, I was kind of running away from my life prior to the military. And then after that, I worked with at-risk youth. But during the military, I was infantry. So that was a unique experience.
Oh, yeah. Being infantry during Operation Enduring Freedom sounds like an insane experience.
Well, we were the forward deployed unit. So, and I talk about this, and I know we jump around and we'll talk about it, but like I did a TEDx talk about my transition from service to civilian life.
Oh, yeah.
And I tell the story of, so my birthday's September 10th, and we were on our very first deployment in 2001. It was our very first international port of call. So you have to understand, it's like when we're out partying for my birthday, and then at 1 o'clock in the morning, there's people walking through the streets, blowing whistles, telling everybody to get back to the ship. We thought it was a training exercise. I'm like, really? Our first international port of call, and we're doing a training exercise? And this is challenging sometimes for people to realize. If you go back to 2001, phones weren't smart. You couldn't just look on the internet and see what might be going on.
Yeah.
We were literally in line, intoxicated, waiting to get back on the ship, only to get on the ship and find out like what was happening in New York City. So we were the forward deployed unit. I call it, they sent us up to what I call the box, and we just waited for Pakistan, Afghanistan, all that stuff. Some of my friends were the first people that flew a United States flag in Afghanistan, Camp Rhino. I say that, Pakistan, Afghanistan, because it was so long ago, it was a lot of politics. There wasn't a lot of like conflict. You know, we didn't lose anybody. But what was interesting is when we came back from that deployment, most of the world was getting ready to deploy back into the Middle East. But by the time it really kicked off, that's whenever Iraq and things like that happened. I got out the same year as like when things got really heavy in 2003. That was the year that I got out, and I came home and I chose to work with where I came from. I worked with at-risk youth for about 7 years after that.
After you left the service, you went in to help at-risk youth. You were at-risk youth yourself, and how did that kind of inspire you learning from that point?
Yeah, I mean, I loved working with kids. I think there was a point where, and it sounds so funny because I worked there until my 30th birthday.
Yeah.
I don't know how this all like revolves around my birthday, but it was up until my 30th birthday that I worked at the youth academy. And even though I was only 30, like I'm 45 now, but like even though I was only 30, I realized I was like, oh my gosh, how much is that gap? Like I felt like I wasn't relating to the kids anymore. And that's a really important part. You have to be able to relate to them to a certain extent. That, and I was also, it was exhausting. I mean, I climbed the ranks there very fast. I helped create a lot of policies and procedures that really helped that youth academy be effective. But there was something more that I was just called to do. So while I spent 7 years at the youth academy, I worked my ass off.
Oh yeah, you were an electrician during that time too.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. It's like working for the state. It's like, imagine, like, you know how teachers don't get paid a lot of money in any state that you're in. In the state of Oklahoma, like I was getting paid less than teachers because I wasn't a teacher. I didn't have that certification, but I was working with at-risk youth. So it's like, imagine all the worst kids in your class. Like if all of those worst kids across all the classes, they all came to me, and I was doing it for less money than teachers. So So yeah, but I think the unique experience that I learned about myself is for the 3 days I worked 40 hours in 3 days there. I worked 2 16s and an 8, and people are like, "What?" And I'm like, "It's fine.
Yeah.
Hear me out." It was just during the waking hour, so like 8 a.m. to 12. But as I climbed the ranks there, I was the highest level person on site. I had 25 team members and up to 200 kids. So I was like the sole decision maker on those shifts. But then on the and people were like, "Oh my gosh, you have 4 days off. Like, what am I going to do with that?" So I went and I was an electrician. I was the very bottom barrel of the food chain there, and I could just put my headphones in or throw one of my boom boxes on, and just like wire a house in a day. And I didn't have to talk to anyone. It really gave me a lot of time to just think.
Oh yeah.
And relax, but also be making money. So I think the thing that I learned about myself is I was not afraid of hard work. I just did whatever it took to start my family.
When the time was right, you put the work in is really what it comes down to. You put your nose to the grindstone because it takes that.
Yeah.
Like if you're not out there driving ambition and having a goal in mind for that final thing, it really ties back to mental health is where if you don't have a final goal, you don't have the roadmap. And if you don't have the roadmap, you don't know what you're doing. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to be depressed.
Yeah.
So it all full circle. I learned that little bit from Dave, the kettlebell guy.
Oh, nice.
He's such
Dave
a good
Lonergan.
dude.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's going to be here in the next couple of weeks. You're going to see him on this as well.
Very cool.
So
Very cool.
We're going to talk about how did you go from being youth counselor and a DJ?
Yeah.
Like, where's the tie-in on that?
Well,
man of many lives.
Yeah, it's funny too because like when people think DJ, like it's really interesting. It was from at-risk youth to wedding DJ. So there is a difference in the whole DJ culture. There's some people that will never even try to do a wedding.
Yeah.
And then there's people like me that I've done 750. But how I got into weddings, it's funny. I always have boom boxes. That's been a huge part of just my brand, but it's just there's something about a boom box that's compelling and I could start a party anywhere. So when I was working at when I was working as an electrician, I would take my boombox and I would just set it on my toolbox thing, and I would just play music and wire up houses. I was the fun guy on the crew, and one of the guys had said, "Man, you got to meet this guy, Jason Bailey. He owns a wedding DJ business in Tulsa," and this was circa 2010. It was earlier in the year, and my birthday was going to be coming up later that year, so. I was right there on the edge of 30 years old, and I was like, I know this is crazy, but like I walked in, the training that they were doing was compelling. I walked into the office where they were doing sales and everything, and like everyone's in business suits, but there's like weird shit hanging off the walls, and I'm like, what is this place? There was this culture about it that just something felt right. Yeah. And when they explained to me like what they were building, I aced the training. I nailed it. And I immediately started DJing weddings just part-time, but almost immediately I became like one of the fastest high-ranking DJs in their whole system. They offered me the opportunity to come on the sales floor, and then that was it. Like I threw in the towel. On my 30th birthday, I left the youth academy. And I jumped into a completely different life. I had no idea. The DJ business is something that I ended up, if you look at the lifespan of my life, it has been many lives, but that's what I did longer than anything else. So since 2010, I have not only did I help scale the largest wedding entertainment company in the United States in the Midwest. When I got here, it only made sense that I kept that alive. I helped a guy 10x his business here on the wedding side. So I've done about 750 weddings all across the U.S.
I'm sorry, did you say 750 weddings?
750 weddings.
That is an insane number. How many of those were you doing a year?
So I know that when I started with the DJ Connection in 2010, I don't really count that year because it was like September, but I did like 10 maybe.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, some people that start their wedding business, they don't do 10 in their first year.
No,
like,
absolutely
because
not.
I was part of a machine, I could just bolt on. And they were like, this guy's really good. So they put me on a bunch of weddings. And then 2011. So from 2011 all the way until I moved here, I never did less than 50. And that was because I was also running the sales floor, but I also had first pick on all the weddings. So I didn't have to like meet with every single bride and groom. We had this whole operation where they just teed it up. And so like I would be on the, running the sales floor during the week, and then I'd go DJ at Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. As I started to expand the operation, it was circa 2012, maybe 2013. They had us reading all these books, and that, hey, if you want to work here, we read all these books. I'm like, okay. I read Think and Grow Rich, and I think the guy paid me $100 to read it, and I was like, maybe he knew what he was doing with paying that $100, but I don't think he ever got the results that he got from anybody else from what I did for that company, because it kickstarted my personal growth and professional growth journey. Now I've read hundreds of books. A lot of those authors have become my friends, mentors, coaches. But one of the things I started reading, and my ambition to grow the company outweighed the owners. Like, they were very comfortable staying there, just dominating Oklahoma. When I proposed the idea to grow into other markets, one owner said, "You can't scale this business." The other owner bought him out, gave me the keys to try it. I drove to Dallas for a year, built a team of 15 DJs, passed the torch. Drove to Kansas City for a year, passed the torch. We really started to see the challenge of a lot of that growth was predicated on me being there.
Yes.
So the challenge was, how do we really get people on the same page? I read Tony Hsieh's book about Zappos, and that opened up the whole idea of company culture. And while that's a book about Zappos, I felt something very powerful like the Marine Corps and that kind of culture. How do we bring that into the world of the DJ business? And when we created core values, rewrote a mission statement, it went viral on both sides. We opened up Denver, Indianapolis almost immediately. Now they're in 9 cities. They cover 30. That's the largest wedding entertainment company in the United States. I'm still friends with them. I didn't have any ownership in that, but like when I moved out here to be closer to the Zappos family, I ended up meeting my friend Sean. He was DJing a brunch, and then I was like, I can't come to Vegas. And I didn't come here for that. I was a sales and leadership coach at the time. I didn't come here for that, but I thought to myself, how could I be in Vegas and not like just do it? So then I got back up to the point where I was doing 60 or 70. And then 2023, I did 100. And when I say that, it's hard because I didn't just do 100. I also was helping one of my clients grow a very large, consulting business. I was also doing all the stuff that I do in the veteran community with Bunker Labs, all those organizations. And I just really got burnt out. I actually got so burnt out that I left the wedding industry with no intention of coming back. So going from always doing 50 to 100 to 2024, I only did 5. And then I've slowly decided that, okay, after that break, there's still just an amazing opportunity that I have to do that and bring that joy to people. So I this year I opened my calendar back up for a few select private weddings.
Oh, heck yeah. And with DJing, tell me, I need to know, because there's so many weird rumors about it's just you go up there, you have everything queued up, and you press play and you're good. Like, how much actually goes into DJing a wedding? Like, because I know there's a lot.
Yeah. And that's the thing that we always built for every business that I've been a part of, we always built our system on weddings, like brides and grooms. So this isn't me at the club, like this, like, cause sometimes a bride might want Patsy Cline and they want Little John. Like, it's not about cutting and scratching and mixing those together. It's about knowing when to play Little John to get everybody on the dance floor. And then as everybody's going off of the dance floor, it might be time to play Patsy Cline because she wanted to dedicate that song to her grandma, who's maybe doesn't have very much time left with us. So it's really not only just playing the music and knowing how to keep the vibe alive, it's also knowing how to read and understand all of the things that can go wrong. Like I can see all of those things, and it's been really fascinating I didn't mention this when we talked before. I've DJ'd 2 weddings without a bride and groom. It's a long story, but you're on my side. And both times it was a medical issue of something that happened. But like, I thought like the first time I thought, oh my gosh, like they're not getting married. And like, I was like, this really happens? And I was like, the runaway bride thing.
Yes.
And it wasn't that at all. But the bride did have to get taken to the hospital. And it was like, when the dad came to me and told me, like, I'm looking at everybody, and he goes, hey, they're not coming back. Like, they took her to the hospital. And I'm like watching them leave because I can see out the back. Everybody's looking at me, and he's like, yeah, they're taking the bride to the hospital, and we're just going to turn it over to the DJ. And I was just like, all right. I got everybody out there for a group photo. We took a photo. I said, the only thing that they're going to have from this is the photos. Yes. I rocked it out. It did get awkward when everybody went through and cut their own piece of cake, but we made it a fun thing. And then I remember 2 years later on a totally different event, I saw the groom, and he goes, bro, like, we never called you to say thank you, but everyone had such a great time. It's like most people would just crawl under the DJ booth and cry. And I'm just like, and it's just so weird that almost that same exact thing happened 2 weeks later. And it's never happened again. It's just like it happened twice in 1 month. And I'm like, all right. But that's the difference between a club DJ that just goes in and does an hour set.
Yeah.
Like some of these, I've always been on this thing where we do unlimited time. We do, I could do a ceremony at 3:00 in the afternoon, a happy hour cocktail thing that goes till 4:30. And then I'm DJing 8 hours until 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
Like that's insane.
So
like,
from MC, master of ceremonies, like vibe controller,
Yep.
as well as a hype man. You really do it all.
Yeah.
So we talked about this a little bit. One thing I challenge every single vet is to show me something that they do for passion, purpose, career, or therapy. Yeah. So we're going to dive in, and Dave's going to show me how to be a DJ. I don't know how this is going to go, but I'm hoping that I'm able to.
I think you'll be good, man.
We're going to see if I can headline EDC right after this.
Try to get me in a room, yeah. Everybody wanna talk, why? Always coming with the tunes, They know I'ma take it far, right? Something I already knew, yeah. Never needed your applause, nah. They been saying it's a fluke, this is not a false alarm, nah, it's not. Did it and I never sold my soul. Devil never gonna hold me close. You can put that on the Holy Ghost.
Hey, young man, what are we doing? What's up, dude? Buddy. Where are we at right now?
Oh, man, we are at Nevada Partners right here in North Las Vegas. So I tell people it is the one of the epicenters of all things entrepreneurship here in Las Vegas. There's lots of different places and programs, things going on, but very few places have a more of like a home base. So this is one of the incubators within all of Nevada Partners. The focus here, let's pull this down. The focus here is they have a lot of different entrepreneurship programs for young entrepreneurs. We're here at the Veteran Entrepreneur Library, which so there's people that are veteran entrepreneurs that have access to different programs and resources here. Almost all that stuff is all free. They have different programs and resources to connect the dots for people at every stage of business.
Awesome, dude. And let's rock and roll. You said you wanted to teach me for this. A big portion of your life was DJing, and then that's really what lit the fire underneath you. Yeah. So why don't you show me what this is all about and how this can help people with?
Yeah. So it's funny, everything that I do is very much in the world of business and entrepreneurship. Right now, I'm a strategic consultant. I help people really understand what are the biggest constraints in their business. But the way that I learned that was I got introduced to a company back in 2010. And when I joined the company, I ended up, since that time, I've DJed 750 weddings all across the United States. So while I've been reading all of these different books, learning how to grow that business across the Midwest before I moved to Vegas, DJing has always been something that's kind of that fallback for me. For some people, it's photography or videography. Some people, it's restaurants. They can always pick up a shift and go make extra money. For me, it's been a blessing. I've done a couple hundred weddings here in Las Vegas. I want to show you I know you mentioned that you're into music as well.
Yes, I do.
So I want to show you just the very basics of how to start DJing.
As long as you don't roast me too much.
Yeah, as long as I don't roast you too much. I'll start with some pretty easy stuff. What kind of music are you into? I've got a lot of EDM and stuff like that.
A lot of house.
Okay.
A lot of trap.
All right. So I'll tell people, I tell people this often, when in doubt, Purple Disco Machine. Right? So when in doubt, Purple Disco Machine. I'll load one of those guys here. And basically, I'll go over like the real simple stuff, right? You have, generally DJs have one track playing on one side that everyone can hear. They have one track playing that they can queue up and get ready. So a lot of times when you see them with a headphone on, they're trying to listen to the next song, make sure they can match the beats. We do have a lot of technology and stuff now to where you can see the beats per minute, either on the deck that people have. I use a program called Serato, but it does help you see and understand music. The easiest way for me to teach this, and I've taught 100 DJs how to, for weddings and stuff like that, it's not about beat scratching and stuff like that. It's very much about, can we play the right music that the couple wants, that's going to elevate their day. So it's not so much about cutting and scratching, because they might want to play like Patsy Cline, but like also they might want to play Lil Jon. Yeah. Right? Lil Jon for their friends, Patsy Cline for their grandma who's 95, and this might be the last wedding that she goes to. So it's not so much about beat matching there, but the simple beat matching side of it is what I'll show you today, and it's very easy to think of it. And I tell people everything is in an 8 count or a 32 count beat. If you know music well, it's just, you can hear the beat and you can tell when there's like the hook coming up or something like that. So what I do generally, so I've got this set up to where we can hear whatever comes through the queue. So like if I play this right now, I have all my volumes down, but if I turn up our headphones, we can hear what's coming up next. So for everybody else, if I turn this up, this is what they can hear. So if I just let that play, it's just going to keep looping that same 16 counts. Right? And then what I want to do is I want to find something in the same beats per minute in Dave's folder here. Let's see, what's something that people might know? It's like a little body. So what I'm doing is I'm matching up the beats per minute, and all I'm gonna do is set that at the very beginning, and I'm just gonna have that ready to go. So whenever I let go of the loop on this one, now it's gonna keep playing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So when I let that play, you can tell that it's off a little bit. I just match it up, right? And then now, if we listen, we can hear what's coming up next, but nobody else can hear that song. So all we want to do is just bring it up. Right? So now we've got 2 tracks playing, and I normally do some sort of like filter going out where it takes that song away, and I let go of this track. Let that one keep going. And then all we did is just seamlessly fade it into the next one. Now I don't do a lot of like beat matching and rolls. I mean, I do the beat matching part, but I really just like to create a very seamless track. I'll tell you my top secret where 80% of my music comes from. I have a couple of caffeinated shots almost every day when I go for a walk at the Win. I don't know, I just love something about the Win. I'll go do some coffee shots with one of my friends, we'll take a walk, but I listen to the playlist that they're playing through the hotel, and I have my Shazam out, and a lot of times I'll pull a new song or something that I like. I just like the vibe they create, and then I'll expand on that. So a lot of my stuff feels like you're at the Win. Cool. So, if we've got that one playing, then if we move to the next one, let's go. We'll keep it safe with Purple Disco Machine, right? When in doubt, Purple Disco Machine. And then I'll let you cue this one up, but we're gonna hit that. So what you want to do is I always tap, that way you can kind of hear it in your headphones, and when you hold it, that's whenever you can tell like it's playing, and then you just hit the play, and that's gonna lock it to where it says, right? So if you tap, 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 slow. Whoops, I jumped it. Right there. So you can hear that? Oh, you can. Can you hear that? Yeah. So if you hear that in your headphones, then play with it. Play with the levers first and just kind of bring one up so everyone can hear you.
So this one?
Yep. See the difference?
Yeah.
So what I always suggest is when you have both playing, we want to take one away, but we don't want to just hard fade it out,
Yeah.
right? We want to take elements of it away. So this is where a filter comes in, and you'll just like turn that real slow. What that's doing is it's filtering out the voice, take the bass away, now it's just the lyrics. And then if you hit 16 there, it just lets that one keep playing. All right, now I'm gonna turn it over to you. We're gonna get one more on here.
Okay.
And then let's see here. I wanted you to play with this for a second. So we can all hear, everyone can hear what's going on here.
Perfect.
But this is like a cue, right? So a lot of times this is what, when you click and hold this, it's you're trying to find the beat to make sure it matches the other side. But once you get it, what I always do is you just hit play, and that's gonna keep it playing. So if you write that and then hit play, now it takes it over, right? So I'll stop it. I'll let you play with that for a second just so you get the vibe. Yep, and then perfect. All right, you're on your way to being a superstar DJ, my friend. So ideally, if this is playing on this side, you're gonna wait for that beat to come in, and then we're gonna turn this down just so you have to listen to it through your headphones.
Yeah.
And then I want you to try to find that 32 count beat where you're, right? Let it come back. Now we're on a weird part of the song, but it'll give you a second to play with it. 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. 1, yep. So now what you want to do is slow this guy down. Right? And now you can hear it in your headphones. Yep. So all you want to do is fade that up, take your bass out of the other one, and fade it down. Yep.
So switch to A.
No, yeah, you just leave this. So all we're doing is fading up. And then take your bass off, and then we're just gonna fade that side down. And then when you take the loop off, now we've got the next track playing. Pretty easy.
Yeah.
Another fun example here is, what are we at? 122. This is one that people might recognize a little bit more. It is a James Hype version, but you match your beats per minute up. Let me see if this is.
That's pretty on right there.
So now, same thing. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. See that? And then, so now you've got that loop in. What you want to do is same thing. I want to fade the left one up. There you go. Now take your bass down on your vocals, and I'll teach you a little trick here. hit filter, so you're already good there. So now take this one and just turn it real slow, and you'll hear the heartbeat. You'll hear the vocals kind of tweak out. Hear it? And then bring the volume down on that one now. Yep. And then take your loop off. Right here, just click 16. So you just seamlessly transition from one track right over to the other. You ready for weddings, bro?
It's all about keeping the vibe right.
Yeah,
if they hire me for their wedding, I don't know how long that's gonna last. But
and you know, it's, I think, maybe, I don't know if this is maybe it's because of my background in the Marine Corps, but like the Marine Corps definitely sets the bar and has a standard of excellence.
Yes.
I think if I would have gotten started in anything other than weddings, I don't think I would have had the same experience.
Yes.
But it's interesting because there's 100 DJs. There's for every one DJ, there's 100 DJs that won't do weddings. And when I say that, like they want to, it's all about them. They're going to play their thing. They don't like requests. For weddings, I have to be very polite to people because they'll come up and be like, hey, could you play so-and-so? And I'll be like, oh my gosh, I have a list here of what the bride and groom want to play. And most of the time people are like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think of that. But sometimes you have the example of, I'll just lead into a story that I won't tell about Tennessee whiskey, where I thought I was going to have to physically harm another human being.
you hear me in the room, Dave?
My bad.
How do you think it went? How did I do?
Oh man, we're gonna go with a solid B-, bro.
Solid.
B-.
You're being very.
He paid me to say B-. No, it's no. You have a natural ear for music, so that's where it starts. We that was just a very simple way to teach the very basics.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, you basically get it, right?
I should hope so. I spent 10 years in the music industry.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. So it's just sometimes it's the equipment. You know, it's funny DJing weddings. I did this trips people out for the first 4 or 5 years, 4 years, DJing on CDs. Mind you, this was 2010 to 2014. And we had some technology, but the thing about technology is because you're going to different venues, you never know what you're doing.
Yes.
It was easy for us to keep all of ourselves self-contained. So we were literally just doing playlist DJ, fading in, fading out from CD1 to CD2. It's not that cutting and scratching lifestyle. So.
And it shows you need to have that old reliable too.
Yep. Now you said this though. You're going to see if you can headline EDC. I don't necessarily want to headline EDC, but if Kaskade ever needs me to like be his private bodyguard, like I will. But this is just a super shout out to Pasquale. If you're watching, give me the art car, give me the boombox car for EDC, and I got you, sir.
And you mentioned Kaskade, your boombox story. Tell me a little bit about that. How did you end up giving Kaskade a boombox?
So this is I tell people that my life has been like a Forrest Gump side quest on psychedelics because I've got to, like, if I think of a thing, I just put so much energy into it. People call it manifestation. At some point, it comes true. I read Tony Hsieh's book, and there was something in that book that just made me believe that I was going to be closer to Las Vegas at some point. But actually, my wife and I, ex-wife now, when we came to EDC in 2015, we took a tour at Zappos, and she wanted to work there, set the intention. How that kind of parlays into Kaskade. We saw Kaskade at EDC. Kaskade has been a huge inspiration for me, even though you don't go from DJing weddings to like DJing stadiums. Yeah. There's something really powerful about Kaskade just as a human and how he lives his life. And I set this crazy intention that I collect boom boxes. One of the boom boxes that I found in my grandpa's estate when he passed away was a little 8-track boom box. And I don't know. At some point, I just said, hey, I have pictures of me on the strip in 2019 holding a sign that says, will somebody please tell Kaskade I want to give him one of my boom boxes. And at the end of 2024, Christmas time, I met, was it 2024? Or was it, maybe it was 2023. It was 2023.
Was it on your birthday?
No, it was not on my birthday. But on 2023, I was at this event with my friend Taylor and Tyler. And there was this guy. He said, what do you do? I said, oh, yeah, I'm a DJ. I do strategic planning. I'm a business, consultant. And I said, what do you do? And he's the VIP host at Zook. And I go,
Oh.
and I just super casually was like, I've been trying to give Kaskade one of my boomboxes for like 5 years. And he just goes, what? And I told him the whole story, and he goes, dude, I think we can make that happen. So literally, he called me. He said, can you do it on New Year's? And I couldn't because I was DJing a ski resort up in Utah. And so on January 12th, I believe, I got to meet Kaskade. I got to give him one of the boom boxes, and I don't get starstruck, but I was like, hi, found this in my grandpa's closet when he died, and I want you to have it. And like, he was just like, whoa, are you serious? And like, he took it, and then he let me come hang out in the booth, and like, so I got to just have that view at Zook of like what it's like. So yeah, I mean, I always love seeing little side quests like that come to life, and I've got to meet like a lot of celebrities just because I had a boombox. It's just been this weird like token that gets me in the door.
I love those moments where it's like the Wizard of Oz and it's opening the curtain and you get to peek inside that world that not a lot of people get to see behind the scenes of.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think a lot of it just comes from, I do a lot of stuff for other people. And then sometimes I'll throw out there that this would be cool if I got to do this thing. And then sometimes I just look right at the camera and I tell Pasquale that, bro, I'll give you one of my boom boxes if you just let me DJ the boombox cart.
DJing. Yeah. What does that do for your mental health? Because it sounds like to me it's your own personal form of therapy that you get paid for.
Yeah. Music is life. The earliest memories that I really have, music has always been there. I realize now that it only makes sense that I got and became a DJ. I think I was always taking the aux cord as long as in that metaphor, right? People are like, Dave, you got a CD, you got a playlist. Music has always been such a powerful thing for me. I grew up at the skating rink, and there's a certain freedom there. In fact, even now, like if you put me on quad skates, like that's the safest, freest place that I could be. And listening to music. So it's always been a part of that. And then as I've went and I've got to go create all of these incredible vibes and stuff for people, along the way, I've also found other ways to use that as therapy. On a very hard anniversary for a hard, traumatic point in my life, I ended up going to a breathwork event where it was like they had like a DJ and all kinds of stuff. I ended up becoming friends with the breathwork people, and then I started DJing all of their events for a couple years. So I think it's always given me a place of peace, but I can also when I find new music and I get to share that new music, it's something that just gives me, I feel like I'm that vessel of what I get to do. And I always try to set big dreams and goals around that. I know I joked, I wasn't joking about Pasquale, but I on my vision board right now, I put something on there a year or two ago, and sometimes it happens fast, but like I want to DJ at Virgin Voyages, like on the cruise lines for my mental health, but also to travel. Like I haven't traveled outside of this country since I was in the Marine Corps. I don't know why or how, but I just thought that would be a cool way to take me places I've never been before, and that's what my soul needs, and I could slowly feel that coming. So it's always just been a way that I can use that skill set to kind of get me anywhere I need to go.
Virgin Voyages only.
Yep. And there's a reason. It's adults only, and it's not that I don't love kids. It's just my son's 20. He'll be 21 this year. I wanted to go to a place where it's all adults, and specifically Virgin, because Virgin is the Cadillac of the sea. They are not just the branded, it's just they are the most elite company to work for when it comes to that industry. Just like I wanted to be a part of Zappos, just like I was in the Marines, just like I was part of DJ Connection, I always want to work for the ones that are the best of the best. Yep.
And that makes sense, being a tight-knit industry yourself.
Yep.
Dave is a driving force. Just sitting with him here, like I can feel the presence emanating off of him. So Freedom Week is about to kick off.
Yeah.
Look, we have how many days left?
Yeah. Right now we're sitting here. Oh my gosh. Today's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 4 days. Freedom Week, it started to really just do something very simple, which is connect and celebrate the veteran entrepreneurs within the community.
Yeah.
Bro, I'll just say it. Freedom Week, is somehow, some way, it captures everything that I've ever cared about in business.
Yes.
It captures everything I've ever cared about in the military culture, especially entrepreneurship, and everything that I care about in community. And it's been a wonky ass ride to get here, but here we are. And to give you just that quick vision and understanding, it's a loose play on something I did years ago in Tulsa. There was a guy coming from Bunker Labs. I wanted to organize a series of events to really just show off and how we had a strong presence of veteran entrepreneurship. I'm the state coordinator for Global Entrepreneurship Network here for the state of Nevada. Global Entrepreneurship Week happens in November. It's about 40,000 events all around the world where people, kick up events in their own communities. It's ran by community organizers like me, Elias here at North Las Vegas, Nadia Lauren in Las Vegas, Ben over in Henderson, Lourdes Madrigal up in Reno. And every year, it's the same week. It's the week before Thanksgiving. And what's important about that is that Global Entrepreneurship Week happens all around the world, 40,000 events. But for whatever reason, it happens the same week as F1.
Oh my
and
gosh.
That's a very challenging thing. There's so many, and normally I'm not afraid to host. I'm not afraid to host this year, by the way. But I'm not. A lot of times there's always something going on in the city. But that's a unique week where it's right before the holiday. All the roads are closed off, so it creates a different set of challenges. So Freedom Week earlier in the year was an opportunity to open the Veteran Entrepreneur Library. Had 6 or 7 events throughout the city. We used it at every event as a book drive to get more books on the shelf, and it worked out beautifully. It was an opportunity to celebrate a lot of these veteran-owned organizations and operations. But more importantly, I wanted to really create some momentum for later in the year. So I asked myself this year, should we do it again? Now, mind you, I'm doing this on zero budget, true guerrilla marketing to its finest. But I did get a lot of the veteran service organizations interested. We have other events going on across different groups and organizations. We took it to a whole new level this year. So now I'm echoing it. It's always going to be the week after 4th of July.
Okay.
We're adding a new spin to it. We are opening the second Veteran Entrepreneur Library up in Reno. We actually have another event that's going on one of the days during the week in Philly. So what's happened since we've started doing this is other communities have taken the idea to say, oh, what if we hosted something in our community? Now, for some people, it's a little too soon this year, but last year after Freedom Week, I got invited down to Puerto Rico to speak at Global Entrepreneurship Congress. I talked about what we had just done. We got a proclamation from the governor's office. We celebrated all the stuff, opened up a library. Now libraries are the scorecards. Past that, now this year we're gonna get another proclamation. It's in process, fingers crossed, declaring Freedom Week for the state of Nevada, which I think is huge.
Oh, yeah.
But I want to give a roadmap to other communities. But the thing I'm really excited about launching is Vet Talks. This was an opportunity to take my experience as a TEDx speaker, also as a Disrupt HR speaker. And a little fun segue on that. You're familiar with TED Talks.
Yes,
it's 11 to 18 minutes. Sometimes people use slides. They don't have to. The interesting thing about Disrupt HR is it's like TED Talks, but specifically for the HR community. Really weird format. 5 minutes. You have to give them 20 slides. They create a movie out of it, and the slides rotate every 15 seconds. No clicker. Very hard talk.
Oh, yeah.
It's the hardest talk I've ever done, but that's also too complicated. I wanted something that was just for veterans. So I did a hybrid, 8 minutes. 8 slides, still no clicker. The slides rotate every minute, but this challenges the speakers to, if you have a format, you have to know how to time it, bring it, and really create that emotion and that action within the people that are listening. And there's 25 people that applied, and it was the hardest thing I've ever had to do to pick 6. But these 6 really represent different parts of the post-military culture. I'm really excited because the rehearsal the other night, just hearing some of these stories, emotions were hot. This is going to be one of the realest things. This is probably the realest thing that I've ever done, but it's now going to give a place for people to share this. In my talk, I talk about the challenges of post-traumatic stress, post-traumatic growth, the opportunities in post-traumatic growth. And I thought the coolest part was veteran is homeless. Not every veteran is helpless. Not every veteran is suicidal. And this is the hard thing. Most people don't know. Not every veteran has even been to combat. But a lot of times people generalize and put us all in this helpless wheelchair that we're just not in. But when I really got to the root of all of this, promoting all of this, doing it on no budget, very much guerrilla marketing, like everything that we've talked about, I wrote one more line in on Sunday, and I'm really excited to share it. It's probably I wish I could say that it just came to me, but this came from a place of fear, pain, desperation, just trying to get the word out. Sometimes it feels like nobody's listening unless we have a gun to our head.
And that's powerful.
That's not what this is.
No.
Like, I want it to be now everyone's listening because I have a mic in my hand. And I think because of the brand and the format, this is going to be part of Freedom Week in other communities. Like now we've got Atlanta, Philly, Tulsa, Austin, Denver, a couple other communities that are interested. My goal is that we kick ass this year. Immediately after that, I start getting verbal confirmation from those communities to raise their hand. And then at the end of Veteran Small Business Week, right before Global Entrepreneurship Week in November, they'll make a verbal commitment to be part of Freedom Week next year. I start giving them the roadmap of how they get proclamations, of how they get partners and sponsors. All of that will happen. And then next year we have Freedom Week in 5 more cities. That means 5 more veteran entrepreneur libraries. That means 5 more Vet Talk stages. And this is how we start to, I really believe that it was our responsibility to defend this country against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Now it's our opportunity and responsibility to rebuild it by building a strong veteran entrepreneur culture. So that's what Freedom Week is. That's why I need everybody to come. That's why I want people to buy T-shirts, is because we're making it happen. But I can't make it happen if people aren't there. So this is hands down the most impactful thing I've got to be a part of, and it brings together all the elements of my life, and that's why I'm excited.
And that's because Freedom Week really sounds like a love letter to vets who know how to get shit done.
Yep.
That's really what it is.
That's exactly what it is, and I'm stealing that. Yeah, I'm stealing that. No, and that's it. And I think it's weird because everything that I've done in my life has led me to that moment, even to making Vet Talks. Like I used the format thing, and like I wrote my talk a month ago. I literally just added that other line because of some of the challenges that I've had trying to get this out there. I've literally I was at a thing yesterday and somebody's like, well, what can I do to help? And I was like, we need to sell tickets to Vet Talks. We need to get more RSVPs for all this. And they're like, you got to post this. And if you look at my social media for the last month, it's just been countdowns. It's been guerrilla marketing. I've literally been like, before our meeting today, I sent off 45 more text messages of saying, hey, I'm building this. After seeing the people rehearsals last night, hands down, this is going to be one of the most impactful things that I've ever done. And I'm saying, hey, this is one of the most impactful things I think I'm ever going to do. It would mean the world if you come to me. And there's people that I have known for years that just aren't answering those text messages. And it's like, I don't know if people get it. Like, that's where I wrote that other line. It's like, it feels like sometimes, and I've talked to other veterans, it's not just me. It's like, sometimes it feels like that's the only time that people are listening. So now it's definitely a responsibility to get loud with these conversations. So that's where I'm grateful for you having me on the show and being able to talk about this so soon. But like, this is going to be something that continues to happen. I think it's built on a powerful foundation and framework. And I'm also leveraging the other communities that I've been in. When I say that, like, I didn't always have friends like in Nashville or Atlanta or things like that. This all came from DJing across the country and setting up those little shops. And now I get to go back to Houston, where the first post-traumatic growth library was out with Mike Nash. I'll get to go into Houston in 2027 and open up a new veteran entrepreneur library. So this is the game from here on out. hire Dave for a day, and Dave Meets Business is one way that I continue to fund all that stuff. And then it's going to be partnering with all the right organizations to just keep this momentum going and growing.
So we're going to tie everything together. The last thing I want to leave it is go to Freedom Week.
Yeah, go to Freedom Week.
Be at the Vet Talks.
Yeah.
If you aren't there, we are going to come find you, show up to your house, and I'm just joking. We'll see you at Freedom Week. Thank you so much for having me.